Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to Real Crypto. Interesting weekend in the markets this weekend. We've kind of seen a lot of strength come into the market. Pretty much every good coin has run at some point or another over this weekend. If we start out here with Bitcoin, we see on the 2-hour chart here, folks, we see a nice run up here crossing the 5,000 line. This is the prior high, just under 5,000. Crossed over at really nice volume, consolidated. Had a nice little bear trap down here on some pretty good volume. Pretty good volume right there. Good bear trap, popped up. And so now we're just looking to consolidate. We could still chop around a couple more times. You know, time will tell. Time will tell here. But Bitcoin on a very good run. Really no weakness in sight. The fact this dropped down, consolidated, and popped right back up. So far looks pretty bearish. The volume on the downside here is pretty good, but the volume on the upside is not too bad either. Not too bad right there. You're going to expect some profit to be taken anytime you get near another big round number, and we almost came up to 6,000, guys. So pretty impressive here in Bitcoin. I mean, when you think about it, from crossing 5,000 to 6,000, that's a 20% move in Bitcoin. A 20% move in a $70 billion asset is pretty massive. So 11 bars, so that's like what, 22 hours? It's not even a day. This happened, I believe, Friday to Saturday. So yeah, 20% up in Bitcoin, pretty abruptly there. Ethereum finally starting to get a little bit of wind underneath its sails. So this is the head and shoulders in Ethereum we talked about. We had the washout from the head and shoulders, and we bounced back pretty feebly, actually, pretty weak. No volume over in this part of the pattern, to speak of. And then nice little shakedown here that was brought right back up, and then same over here, shakedown, little bear trap here, bear trap. So we're definitely seeing a series of higher lows in Ethereum now at this point in time. It's pretty clear we're in an uptrend. I mean, it's obvious we're in an uptrend. And with this nice little volume spike, we were a little worried up here in this area, just kind of waiting to see what would happen next. We knew the fork was coming up. The update was going to be something that, you know, most of them have gone well. There's only really one Ethereum update that didn't go so well, which made Ethereum Classic. But anyway, looking pretty good here. We're catching a bid today. We're up just about 3% in Ethereum, where Bitcoin has been kind of weak. It was actually down about 6%. Has since pretty much come all the way back. But Ethereum doing really nice here. Some nice accumulation today. The weekends tend to be a little bit light volume, but this weekend's a bit of an exception. Ripple has had a lot of strength here as of late. This is a lot of accumulation in Ripple, a lot of good price movement right here. We're not too far from all-time highs in Ripple if we go out to the daily chart. Really not at all. Not at all in Ripple, actually. It's quite nice to be this close to the highs. Yeah, not a lot of chop up here. Once we clear 1 and 2 resistance levels, it's almost clear skies to the all-time highs. So that's good about Ripple. Litecoin, kind of the same story in Litecoin. If we dig down a little bit to the 2-hour chart here. So here on the 2-hour chart, we clearly see the channel that Litecoin was forming. And then, boom, we popped out of that on really good volume. This is really good volume in Litecoin at this stage of the base. Basing once here, we're basing again here. And, you know, we only have a couple levels again until we hit all-time highs in Litecoin. So Bitcoin in all-time highs. Ethereum's really close to all-time highs. You know, Ripple's pretty close to all-time highs, and Litecoin not too far behind, although it's still a little far down. But not too many levels of resistance. Really, right here at the 72 level, then again here at the 82 level, and then boom, we're back up into, could be right into all-time highs. Could be right into all-time highs. IOTA has been kind of floundering as of late. Really, no strength in IOTA. It has not been following this rally whatsoever, although we do have a kind of a semblance of an inverted head and shoulders here. I don't have a lot of faith in it at this moment in time, but you know, if you're a shorter term trader, or you want to get in long term, wait for a break of this 48.50 level. Yeah, about 48.50. If it breaks there on some volume, then yeah, it may be time for a run in IOTA, because money is going into a lot of other coins. So Monero had a nice run up. It really had this beautiful bull flag. Look at this, really good volume on the up thrust. The bull flag was nice and tight. Really nothing wrong at all about this setup. This volume is spectacular. We're still on the 2-hour here. This volume was great. popped up. Nothing wrong with any of these volume bars, except for this large green one was actually a large selling bar. And ever since then, we've come down in red volume, which isn't bad. But anyway, we're right back down to the breakout point in Monero. I'd like to see more strength in Monero at this moment in time. I was expecting more of a Litecoin move. I was expecting this to pop up, form another higher consolidation, and then maybe get weird up there. I didn't expect it to get weird down here. So Dash really hasn't done much either in terms of this. So I tend to think that people are moving away from Dash. But overall, if you look at the daily chart on Dash, it's still very impressive. The daily chart on Dash, nothing wrong here at all. This is all good action. But if you look on the closer up time frames, it gets a little choppy. The thing with Dash you have to realize is that when it wants to move, like here you go. This is the prior trend line that it had. When it wants to move, man, it moves. This was up 100% if I remember correctly. Yeah, 220 up to almost 440. So, you know, 80 to 100%. Let's get the actual number. 95%. So 95% up in Dash. So when it wants to move, it moves, which is why I drew this trend line across here. So wait for this trend line to be crossed. Preferably a little bit of good volume comes in. The volume isn't great in Monero, but when it runs, man, it can run. But you have to wait for those breakouts, otherwise it's just dead money. So Ethereum Classic, which is the fork of Ethereum, again, it's kind of like Dash and some of these lower capped coins. Really not much happening at all with Ethereum, just kind of flattening, going sideways. We're not dropping, which is good, but we're not going up either. Omisigo, kind of more of the same. You know, we talked about an inverted head and shoulders here for a trade, which worked out quite beautifully, and then it's just fallen back. So not much happening there. Neo is still trying to catch a bid here. Neo's still low in this consolidation, but we are in this channel, which is good. As long as we remain in this channel, I think this uptrend in Neo is intact. Past that, there's not a whole lot going on. Like we said, Qtum just failed miserably and is still failing. Lisk is failing and still failing. Really not much happening in Lisk. Looks like it's trying to put a bottom in here right now with these two lows. It's attempting to put this bottom in. This is Lisk on Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin rallied, so the Lisk is a little weaker against the Bitcoin. But against the dollar, which I prefer to trade generally against the dollar. But against the dollar here, you have these two nice lows. So it could be trying to put a low in here, kind of like we see these two lows here. And then we get an uptrend. Maybe we get another move up in Lisk, hopefully. But there's not too much else going on. There's some lower cap coins we're moving today. Let's go down to the bottom here. Past couple of days, PKB was one that had a big 300% run. And then since that run, it's consolidated, then popped again for some pretty good action. It was up, I think, over 100% again over here in PKB, 200%. So these are some pump and dump coins. But, you know, if you catch these at the right time, like right here, if you catch these pump and dump coins right, they can be very profitable. GBG, another pump and dump coin, very, very similar to PKB. Mona, I don't consider it a pump and dump coin. It actually has some good fundamentals behind it. It's a fork of Litecoin, blah, 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 all that good stuff. So it came out of this long-term, this little trend line here, and then popped up for a really nice gain. And it's consolidating with a higher low, which is good. It's a higher low, so that's good. Volume declining, so maybe there'll be something with Mona in the future. This is actually a pretty good quality coin. IOP started to move again today a little bit. It's kind of failed that move. It didn't follow through. What you want to see is kind of a pop, a consolidation, then another pop. We're not getting we're not even getting the consolidation, let alone the pop. So a couple other ones. Game was moving earlier today, right here off the lows on some pretty good volume. I was waiting for a consolidation that never quite came. What else was moving today? There was another one that was moving. Block was moving today pretty good. And then it failed again. So Block's move didn't really do too much. Looked like it was up, but actually, I'm sorry, this was the other day. Block really never did anything. Token was the one that did something. Right here, Token moved up pretty good. No real volume to speak of, unfortunately, and it just flattened out. So maybe could wait for a pop, but I doubt we're going to get one. Ruby had a really good move. I mean, people were talking about Ruby in the chat room. I kind of wrote it off. but it is on my watch list, and I have kind of been watching it. I didn't notice it until it was way too late, so wasn't able to partake in this one. However, it did make a good move, and it may again. The volume here is pretty good. Not too much selling volume, although it did come down quite far. That means there's not a lot of strength. This is more of a pump. So there you go, guys. So money really being dumped into the quality coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, and then past that, it gets really sketchy, and you really have to pick and choose your spots. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, if you want to start loading up your portfolio, Ripple, Litecoin, if you haven't already, these are the coins to be in. These are the leaders of this market going forward. There's really nothing else showing the strength. I thought XMR, Monero was going to be one of those coins, and it still may be. But at this moment in time, it needs a little bit more strength and a little bit more volume. There really wasn't enough volume apparently to propel this forward. So where do we go from here? So Bitcoin looks like it's very strong. We're probably going to get another leg up or two, maybe even get towards 7,500. People look for those round numbers, so you kind of have to keep those in mind. So that is a possibility. 7,000 is not that far away, and 7,500 is not that much far from 7,000. So that is not out of the realm of possibility. And then Ethereum, looking like it may want to make a run in towards these all-time highs here. We have the fork. I haven't actually checked on the fork to see how it's done. It's actually, I think it's starting to happen now. So let's keep an eye on that. But if this thing doesn't tank, Ethereum could have a very, very nice move to the upside if this market uptrend stays intact. The best case scenario is that the altcoins catch a bid. You see Neo start to run, you see Dash and Monero start to run. Hopefully IOTA gets out of the doldrums, and then you start to see a couple of really key altcoins start to make some really good moves and sustain those moves. When we get those sustained moves, especially in the altcoins, man, this market's really going to rock it. So we've kind of been in a doldrum, and kind of been in a lull since the top over here, and since even back a little further, even since June when the altcoins stopped running after their crazy run. So we've had quite a bit of run up. Now we've had a good amount of consolidation. Now we need to wait for some confirmation before market participants feel safe putting a lot of money into altcoins. But Bitcoin's running, Ethereum may make a run into all-time highs, and overall we're looking pretty good. But pick your spots, stick with the strength, and I would ditch the coins that are pointing downward. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow in the live stream. Have a good night.